four, three, two, one. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second edition of Run That Back. Today, our show is called Tiny Be Mighty, and I have some special guests with me, Miss Tara Lynn Towns, behavior specialist and 501c founder of Tiny Be Mighty. I have Encore Corey Hunt, who was a victim of bullying but no longer is, and the Tiny Be Mighty activist. I have Janai Price, okay, who was also a victim of bullying, who is no longer a victim of bullying. And she is the founder of Dope Butterfly, which means despite opposition, pursue excellence. I have Yolanda Elise Goodson Price, who is her mother, myself, okay, and I want to give an introduction to my first guest. She's a special guest. Her name is Tara, and she's a professional author, inspirational speaker, and certified professional life coach with over 15 years of experience working with women, children, and families. She has embarked on a personal endeavor to raise awareness about dwarfism and bullying. She is highly dedicated to assisting others in breaking through life's barriers. Above all, she believes that our best life is what we create, and this holds true for our worst life. Therefore, living beyond ourselves is how we create greatness. Welcome to the show, Tara.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. How are you guys?
Good, good. Thank you for being here. Okay, Tara, I wanted to talk to you about your movement, Tiny Be Mighty, all right, and also talk about the things that you've been doing in the community. I know that Tiny Be Mighty is a 501c profit that serves a dual purpose. Not only do you raise awareness about dwarfism, but you offer a resolution to combating bullying. So my first question is, can you touch upon your life coaching and living beyond you as a behavioral specialist?
Yes. Well, I am a master's level behavioral specialist and a therapist working towards my licensure. I've been counseling for about 15 years now, and decided to step it up a little bit and just add a little bit more to my business. And I became a certified life coach, professional life coach. So within the coaching, I coach people who have anxiety, depression, eating disorders, people who are just not motivated. That's, I would say, if I would have to say, that's the basis of my clientele, just people saying, what is my purpose here and how do I get motivated about it?
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, my second question is,
Yes.
talk about your nonprofit, your 501c3, Tiny Be Mighty, and what it stands for.
Okay, Tiny Be Mighty is, like you said, it's a 501c3 nonprofit, and we have a dual purpose. We raise awareness for dwarfism, but we actually offer a resolution for bullying. The inspiration behind my organization came from Corey, my son, who was bullied tremendously because he has dwarfism. And when he came home with, bruises and telling me children were stepping on the back of his shoes and holding things above his head to where he was very uncomfortable and frustrated, I knew that I had to step in, and I knew that I definitely had to become a proactive mom, being that there's no set policies put in place for bullying or situations such as this. So I wrote a book called Tiny But Mighty. Corey helped me with the book, and then we began to start the process of the 501c3. And now we have been on this mission for about 2.5 years now, and we are on a national anti-bullying campaign, which I'm really, really excited about.
And that's awesome because I'm sitting here looking and I see that your affiliates are the NFL, and you also have the NBA G League, the Suns, and you have
Hmm.
the NAACP Tuscaloosa, who is also
Yes.
some of your sponsors, and I think that that's awesome. My next
Yes.
question is actually for Corey, if you don't mind.
Okay. Here he is.
Corey, how you doing?
Hello, I'm
How are
good.
you? You're good? You looking good. Let me ask you
Thank
this.
you.
Corey, you're welcome. Corey, this is your movement, right? Tiny Be Mighty.
Yes.
What do you want people to understand about you?
I want people to understand that just because I'm small does not mean I'm some monster, or somebody they can't get along with. I'm a really nice person, and I just want to make friends.
Absolutely. And that's not too much to ask of anybody, right? So when you sat down with mommy and you guys decided to come up with this whole tiny be mighty, did it empower you? Did it make you feel stronger? Did it change your life? What did it do for you?
It made me feel stronger to know that my mom is by my side.
That is so awesome. And mommy's always going to be by your side. You're always going to be a special team. Thank you for answering that question.
You're welcome.
Okay, now I'm going to introduce my next guest, okay? And she's kind of special because she's my little cousin, and not only is she my little cousin, but she's also my god baby. And her name is Janai. And she may get mad at me because I say age 13, because I don't want to give her 14 yet, all right? Janai, who is the founder of Dope Butterfly, which stands for Despite Opposition, Pursue Excellence, was a victim of bullying and believes that bullying is not okay. She wants to help other girls ages 9 through 15 who have also been bullied and are currently being bullied. How you doing, Janai?
I'm doing good.
Good, good, good. Glad that you're on the show. Here's my first question for you, Janai. Talk about Dope Butterfly and why you established this movement.
Well, Dope Butterfly actually is an acronym for Despite Oppositions Pursue Excellence. And the reason I made Dope was because I wanted to take my bullying experience and turn it into something positive for other girls who were going through the same thing as well. So they can see that they're not alone and that they have someone to look up to and see that, oh, well, she did this and she's somewhat my age, so that means I can do the same thing she did. I can turn my experience into something positive and try to find a better way to deal with it.
Absolutely. That's a great answer. Now, if you will, talk about the Dope Butterfly box and what that includes. Walk us through that.
Well, the Dope Butterfly box includes a journal that they can write down all their thoughts. Also pens for them to write with in their journals, and wristbands, inspirational note cards, a dope water bottle. They also could get a dope T-shirt as well, and they can get little post-it notes that they can just write down their thoughts, and they also have a letter that had written to them, and also a dope butterfly poem as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And then after the show, we'll give you the opportunity to let people know how they can get that box. Okay.
Okay.
Here's my next question for you. What would you like to say to all of the girls who are feeling helpless right now?
What I would like to tell to these girls is they're not alone. That even though some people it seems like, oh, well, she's always happy and laughing, doesn't mean that nothing is going on with her. She's hiding it inside. So what I would want to tell them is tell someone feel if they
Take your
feel
time.
if they feel helpless, or they think that what the people are bullying them about, they feel like, oh, well, since they said that about me, that's true. But actually, it's not true. It doesn't matter what they say you are or call you. What really matters is what you think of yourself. And as long as
Mm,
you think of yourself in a positive way, then you can stay thinking of yourself in a positive way. And what they say will just brush it off your shoulders, and it won't matter what they say to you.
absolutely. That is awesome. That's awesome. Now, Janai, if you don't mind, I'd like to take this to your mom, and I have a question for you. This is my also another family member of mine that's dear, dear, dear to me. little cousin used to follow me around all of the time crying. Um, Used to have to drag her around with me because she was a little tattletale at that time. So my mom figured if she was with me, then she would know what I was doing. But I had Yolanda trained to not say anything. So big up to you, Cuzzo, for not ever telling on me. But Yolanda, please give a parent perspective dealing with your child being traumatized regularly.
It was very hard and difficult. It was a humbling experience, I'll say that. Because when Janai first made us aware of what was going on, you know, I went to the school, me and my husband, we followed every protocol that we knew to follow. We wrote letters, we called, we requested parent conferences with mediation. They didn't give us any of those things. It got to the point where we started to notice different patterns and behaviors of Janai. She didn't take lunch for a while because she was being called a fat A, a hippo from Madagascar, told that she was seen on My 600-Pound Life. They told her to do the world a favor and kill herself. So we didn't understand what was going on. We just saw these drastic changes in our child. Then at one point, she didn't want to be in school. She would call every day the same time to be picked up. And I couldn't understand because my child is an AB honor roll student. You know, what's going on? So it was very frustrating because you're going to the school, to the administrators, to the board, you're writing the letters, you're sending the emails, you're making the phone calls, you're going, and to no avail, nothing was being done. And they, to me, were dismissing it like it was kids being kids. And it's not always kids being kids. They look at bullying as it's just in a box and you just check off these boxes and it has to fit that criteria. And we were trying to impress upon them that that's not what it was. I made them do an investigation and they said that she wasn't a victim of bullying. And as a result of that, my child shut down. She did not want to go to school. I had to stay home from work. Then she sent us a video saying, you know, that she didn't want to be here anymore. That was like a gutter punch. Like when we went to the ER and they asked her, you know, well, were you just saying this or were you really going to do that? And when my child said yes, she was going to do it, like if I could have passed out on the floor, I would have, because, you know, that's your baby, you know, and we don't send our children to school for that. You know, I mean, everyone, you're a victim of, or you're a product of your environment. And I know how we raised Janai. We raised her to respect people's differences. You know, everyone is not the same. We teach her everyone's not going to like you, and that's okay, but you respect them. And it wasn't being reciprocated to her. So, you know, it's a hurting feeling to teach them right from wrong. And then they go to school and it's not, you know, everyone doesn't do that. And then to have her feel that so helpless that she didn't want to be here on this earth anymore as a parent, you know, and you're doing everything you know to do. You build her up, you encourage, you do all of these things, and then the school still didn't take it seriously. It was very, very, very frustrating, you know, but somehow in the midst of it, Janai turned it, you know, into a positive. And even after, with all her little interviews and the things that she's done, you know, she still was teased. And, you know, it went to another level from the teasing to the cyber, and everything like that, with them threatening to have her jumped. We're going to have someone rape you. We're going to have all of these things happen to you. You know, so my husband and I going back and forth, even up to right prior to this whole current, you know, social distancing situation with the schools being closed, we were still going back and forth. But her starting dope actually helped her. It empowered her. It gave her a little better coping skills, I would say. It helped her to deal with it, because we teach her and encourage her that her pain has a purpose and that lives are going to be saved and touched by her testimony and what she's been through. So that's where we are now. You know, I'm proud of her, but it's still frustrating when you're going back and forth with the school because I can't be there every day. So, but that's where we are
Yeah,
now.
absolutely. I feel your pain um, all the way through this right here. You know, I'm feeling some type of way. I got very emotional. I won't show it, but, you know, just to hear something like that, to hear that, that a child is in distress like that. That's just absolutely incredible, and there's no place in society for that. I remember when I was growing up, just to have that feeling of invincibility and that you're a child, the things that kids don't get nowadays, and it's just sad to say. And I'm going to prompt you in right now, Tara, to speak to that situation, and then after that, I'd like you to elaborate on each type of bullying that's out there. You said that there were six. Am I correct?
Yes, 6 types. Okay, first of all, Yolanda, I just want to say that I commend you as being a proactive mom. Um, we have to do what we have to do as moms, and obviously you did everything that you were supposed to do, which was report, stay on top of the school, because they most certainly will not stay on top of you. They like to push everything under the rug, and they like to pretend that this situation is not serious, and they like to code it with it is just boys being boys or girls being girls or just a little cat fight or just kids not getting along. And that's the furthest thing from the truth when we have 2,500 children between the ages of 8 and 15 taking their lives every year, and a total of 5,000. Half of it's related to bullying, and statistics show this. Our government knows this, but once again, there are no policies and procedures put into place to set up a protocol for the schools to defend and support our children when they go through these situations. And Janai, I just want to tell you, I know that it is horrific what you're going through, and still you may deal with things, but you know something, you just made my heart sing and my soul dance just hearing what you did for yourself. And what you did, you empowered yourself. You empowered yourself, so now you can go ahead out there in the world and deal with people who are not used to diversity, because that's another breakdown, that we can get into, is that people socially are just not used to people being different. It needs to be introduced in the pre-operational stage of development. That's when you're 2 to 3 years old, not when you're in middle school and high school. The characteristics are already set in place. So we can't ask someone who's been behaving this way since they were 2 to now all of a sudden be good, be kind. That stuff, that empathy must be implemented in that pre-operational stage of development. So I just want to commend you for being a commander of your communication, and for putting all of whatever you went through, you turned it into a positive, you boosted your own self-esteem, you engaged yourself, you embrace yourself in love, and now you are a powerful force to reckon with. And the more you go, the more you do, you will empower others through your walk and through your testimony. I just want to commend both of you. You guys done all that you can really do with this time and how everything, presents itself regarding bullying.
Absolutely,
So now,
absolutely.
okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I was going to say that I would like you to elaborate on the types of bullying.
Okay. I get passionate, but we need to. We need people to feel this and not just listen to it or see it, because children are dying. And I'm going to continue to reiterate that, because that is what our organization, the entire foundation, is to save lives. It's not just to talk about it. It's not just to say, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. We have an app, we have policies, we have procedures. We are here to save lives between the ages of 8 and 15 is what we specify. We directly work with families one-on-one who have lost children, who have been in the news for 5 minutes, and then it leaves. Everything is push under the rug, evade, and avoid. That is not. We need in your face. We need in your face mentality with this. So there are actually 6 types of bullying. I add another one to it myself, because we have a few people who we, work with that have lost children due to racial bullying. So obviously there's physical bullying, which is hitting, pushing, obviously anything physical. And then there's verbal bullying, which is name calling and making people, feel less than through your words. And then there's sexual bullying, which a lot of people don't really bring it up and don't talk about it, but we have families who have had girls sexually bullied on the bus, and the bus drivers say they didn't see it or hear it. Like I said, we have a resolution for that, which we'll speak about at the end of this conference. But the sexual bullying is any sexual harassment, any negative connotation due to sex. And then we have prejudicial bullying. It's a fancy word that they use, but I'm going to call it what it is. It's racial bullying. And there are children being made to feel less than because they are African American, because they are Muslim, because they are Christians, because they are not Christians. It is a cultural thing, but I'm calling it what it is. I'm straightforward with this. We cannot prance around this any longer. We have a young lady right here with us today that said that she wanted to not be here anymore. We have a mom that could have been on the opposite of that shoe saying, my daughter is not here anymore, but she's here. Thank God. So we need other children to know that they don't need to disappear, that we as parents, policymakers, facilitators, government officials, we need to let them know that they deserve to be here and that we have their backs. They totally feel alone in this fight, and that's why they choose with that child mentality to walk away and say, you know what, I have to go because no one's here to help me. Janai said that she knows that there's nothing that they're going to do for her. That's scary for kids to feel that their school system, their administrators, their principals, their teachers are not going to do anything about them feeling violated. It's horrific. It's an epidemic. But anyway, getting back to the types of bullying, there are the 6 types. And then there's one that's really, it's not a new one, but it's one that's really starting to take precedence, and it's called relational bullying. And what this is that children socially sabotage another child to where normally they were all eating at the lunch table, and now, hey, we're not going to be friends with Susie anymore, and let's everyone not like her. And so you have the bully who, quote unquote, has somewhat of a control over the emotional state of the other children. That's how they get their power. And so they now manipulate the other children to not like Susie, to not like Janai, to follow along with them. And now the child feels socially separated from their social environment, which is everything. Because we're not even cool anymore as parents and teachers at this age group. Their friends are everything to them. So if they're not accepted in school, oh my God, it is the end of the world. They feel that there's no way out, nowhere to go, and nothing for them. So why not take it into their own hands, and why not leave the building permanently, which we must shift this mentality. So those are the 6 types of bullying, and this is, how it's being presented and how it's not being brought to the attention like it should be. Relational bullying and racial bullying are at the top of the list. It used to be name calling and pushing. This is a different age, and these children are way, way keener, smarter. They're just vicious, to some certain degree, and that's because of the environment. What are we speaking today? Through our music, through our TV, through our babysitters, through their peers, who they really, 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 the peers are everything. So this is where we're at right now with this. And once again, a little bit later, we will go into how they can overcome this and what we can do about this.
Wow. Absolutely incredible. Um, you took my breath away. Vid, talk about your situation that you had down there in Florida.
All right. First, I just want to say that for everyone that's watching, we have to remember that children become adults. So a lot of times, with the bullying and everything, some people just repress it. You know what I mean? And then so when they become adults, they also act out. You know what I mean? Not to go away from what you want me to talk about, but that's something I was dealing with the past 2 days. But far as I have a 12-year-old and a 5-year-old, and my 5-year-old daughter, she's biracial. Last year, as a preschooler, I started seeing that she would withdraw herself. And I would ask the question of what's going on. And finally, she told me that so and so pushed her. All right. And the first time it was okay. Well, did you tell your teacher? Yeah. Well, what did your teacher say? Well, the teacher made her apologize. Okay. But it became a pattern. And one day I dropped her off, and the TA, teacher assistant, she was standing maybe 10 feet away from myself, my daughter, and another kid. My daughter began playing with a toy. The other kid just went over and pushed her. And I'm looking at the TA, like, are you going to say anything? But she said nothing. So I, as a parent, as a dad, is like, excuse you, and my daughter started crying. So I had words with the TA. I asked her, well, first I asked her, did she see that? She's like, yeah, I was, as nice as I could. Well, why didn't you, say anything? Or, well, that's just how they play. That was first and foremost. But again, it started a pattern. So it started where my daughter at the time wouldn't, she would tell a teacher, but it would keep going on and she wouldn't defend herself. So we would have to tell her, if they hit you, you have to, hit them back. You know what I mean? If the teacher is not going to do anything or doesn't see it or whatever. So fast forward to this year, beginning of the school year, she had a situation where some boys, we found out, she's in kindergarten now, some boys were making fun of her. And the story is she did tell the teacher, but the teacher did solve it, but they were making fun and one hit her at this point, and she took a pencil and hit him in the head, like poked him in the head or whatever, which I don't condone at all, And I talked to her, it took a couple of days for her to, tell everything what happened. But she was said that it was basically, in adult words, it was a repeated action, and it goes back to what Miss Yolanda and Tara was saying, that the teachers or adults in general just push it off as that's kids being kids, So that's just my experience of what I've done or dealt with, and it just scares me because my daughter, I mean, I'm not just saying this, Adrienne has seen her. She's very gifted, athletic, beautiful, and we know that the issue is going to continue on, you know what I mean? So my question for Yolanda, well, any of you, would be how would you advise me to handle the situation? Or I talked to my daughter about the bullying, and different kinds of bullying. Anybody?